Hello, in this video we are going to be walking through the support guide that we have on how to reinstall your backup server services that have gone missing after a upgrade attempt. Normally that will only occur if you have third-party software that has blocked the installation of the actual services, and in that regards it could be an antivirus real-time scanning software that did that. In that case, your backup server normally obviously is going to have some disk pools on it, so you don't want to have to clean install the client again with the backup server and then re-enable the backup server, because your command server already thinks that this particular node that we're on is a backup server, which would require you to delete the disk pools first and then go ahead and delete the node from nodes management. So you don't want to have to go through that headache just to get some of the services reinstalled. In that case, you can install these services manually, and we're going to go through that. This particular backup server node, as you can see here, only has one data center service in place. It's the remote command executor. That is the service that you'll see if you were to do a basic client install without elevating it as a backup server. In that case, we're going to go ahead and reinstall 4 out of 5 of those services manually. And we already started our admin command prompt here. We're going to change to the data center folder. In our case, that's on the C drive. In your case, that might be different. And we'll go ahead and change to our first folder where our first service called nbksrv is located, and we're going to issue the command now. That's the command there, so we're going to hit enter there, and it did install it. If we want to check that it installed, we just refresh our services list, and there's the service. It's actually not named exactly 100% properly, but we'll show you how to actually do that renaming of that service name later. So now we're going to change to the hijacc folder, and we're going to issue the next command. And this is for the hijacc service. And actually, I noticed that you do actually have a change in the command there. It's actually -C instead of install for that particular one. So now that that's installed, it should show up there. It actually is not going to be named properly, and like I was mentioning before, we can take care of the naming on those a little bit later, but it is there in place. If I double click on that, we can see it is the hiserv service. And scroll back down to our Novastar services and just keep it there for now. The next service that we're going to install is the hijacc service. And actually that is in the tape folder. So we have to remember to go to the tape folder first, and then we can paste in the command. So that just installed the service called hijacc. We'll refresh the list and we'll scroll up a bit, and there we see it in place, and that's the hijacc service. It is not named properly, but as I mentioned, we'll take care of that a little bit later. All right, and still within the tape folder, we're going to run the installation to install the multiplexer service, and that should be installed now. We scroll up a bit, should see that service. Where is that at? Right here. So that one is also not named properly either. So we'll go ahead and correct that in a second. But all of our services are reinstalled. So if we count them up, we have the multiplexer, the hijacc, the hijacc. That's 3. Then we scroll down to the Novastar section. We have 1, 2, so that's 5. So that's the total amount that we need, is 5 services for a backup server. So now we'll go ahead and show you how to rename those services so that you can, so they can be listed all in a row as the 5 services that are needed for a backup server. Okay, I have my service rename guide up in front of me in a text file here. So I can go ahead and do these service renames. So we'll go one by one from the top down. It doesn't really matter the order that you do this in. So we're going to highlight the contents there for the first command. And these steps, by the way, are in the guide that you should be reading in front of you. So it doesn't matter what folder you're in, you can issue that command from within an admin command prompt. So that says change success, and then we'll go to the next one here. And you could do this scconfig, all in a row for each one of them, just in one shot. But I'm doing it kind of individually, so you can see the each individual success message. So there you go. So they're all renamed properly. So now if we refresh our service list, they should be all in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's how many we need. So once they're installed, you can go ahead and manually start them one by one. And just for good measure, we'll also restart the remote command executor. And the last one's here. Okay, so all 5 of them are in place, installed, and running. And that basically is all you need to do. If you do notice that one of the service names is not correct as far as the description goes, you can also correct the description discrepancy by going into the registry. You don't have to do that. It's optional, completely optional. But if you'd like to, I can show you where that is now. So in our case, we are left with all 5 services installed and running, but we still have the description field that doesn't match the service name for this one service, the VM Backup Server service. It has a description of Novastor DC Backup Server service, and we want to change it to DC VM Backup Server service. The correct name is down here, and so we're going to go ahead and use the regedit command to navigate to the proper registry key. And so we're going to come down local machine system services, and then from there you can do a search. And the search query that we're going to use is actually just the short name of the service, which is considered the service name. It's nbksrv. So we'll enter that exactly as stated. And it brought us to the particular key that we need. So we can see here the display name, meaning the service name, is proper. It's the DCVM backup server, but description is invalid. So we're going to go ahead and modify it. And what we're going to do is just double click on that entry and back out to the there. And then we're going to say server service. You could also just copy and paste it here over top. And that takes care of that. That's all you need the registry editor for in this case. We're going to close out. Then we're going to hit the X on that and do a refresh. So now it is properly named for the description field. And that takes care of this guide. Thank you so much for watching.